I need you to stop and listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you could save your entire summer vacation. Your passport is sitting in a drawer right now. It has years left on it. It looks completely fine, and you are already planning to use it. But here is the reality check no one is warning you about. In summer 2026, a passport that looks perfectly valid, right down to the expiration date printed in bold on the data page, can still get you stopped cold at the boarding gate. Not because of anything you did wrong, not because of a watch list, because of 9 specific technical rules that have quietly and permanently changed the game. And the system that catches you? It is not a human being. It is a piece of airline software running a background check you cannot see, and it does not negotiate. It does not care that you have a non-refundable hotel. It does not call a manager. It just stops. 9 rules, and any single one of them can stop your summer trip before the wheels ever leave the ground. Rule 1. The 6-month validity trap. This first one is already catching people at the counter. Right now, this week, you believe your passport is valid until the expiration date. The date is printed right there in black and white. But most of the world does not care about that date the way you think it does. They care about a different calculation, one that adds 6 months on top of your departure date. Here is the mechanics of it. A vast majority of destinations across Asia and the Middle East legally require your passport to remain valid for a full 6 months beyond the date you plan to leave their country. Not your arrival date, your departure date. You are flying to Thailand in July. Your passport expires in November. You do the math, that is 4 or 5 months left. You think you are fine. The airline's check-in software runs the exact same calculation and automatically blocks your boarding pass from printing. No override, no supervisor conversation. The computer flags it, and that is the end of your trip before it starts. Europe operates on a slightly different standard. The Schengen zone requires 3 months of validity beyond your planned departure from the zone, not 6. But because the rules vary so sharply between countries, the only safe standard for any American traveler is to treat the 6-month rule as universal. The rule corporate travel managers have started enforcing is called the 7-month audit. Never let your passport dip below 7 full months of validity before a planned international trip. If you are sitting below that line right now, stop watching and start your renewal application today. Rule 2. The issued 6 months before arrival anomaly. Now here is one that almost nobody talks about, and it genuinely feels unfair once you understand it. Some countries, prominently China, Brazil, and select European Union member states, do not just check when your passport expires. They check when it was issued. If your passport was printed less than 6 months before you arrive at their border, it can be flatly rejected. Read that again. You noticed your old passport was getting close to expiration. You did the responsible thing. You paid the expedite fee, went to the post office, and got a brand new passport in your hands a month before your trip. Shiny. Valid for 10 years. Looks perfect. And then the airline's system denies you boarding because the passport is too new. This rule was originally designed as an anti-fraud measure. Governments use it to flag passports that were acquired unusually fast, potentially for illicit purposes. But it punishes the most proactive travelers hardest. If you know you are heading to China or Brazil, that new passport needs to be in your hands at least 6 months before the day you land on their soil. Not before you leave. Before you arrive there. Rule 3. The invisible damage trap. Now we get to the one that genuinely shocks people every single time. This is the rule that makes 0 sense until it is happening to you at the gate. Your passport has a chip in it, a tiny RFID microchip buried inside the rigid back cover. That chip stores an encrypted, digitally signed duplicate of everything on your photo data page. At modern international airports, you are directed to automated e-gates. Those gates do not just photograph the paper, they generate an electromagnetic field and talk directly to the chip. If the chip does not respond, the passport is legally considered electronically dead, broken. unusable for automated processing, even if every single page looks pristine to the naked human eye. And here is what actually kills the chip. Not water damage, not heat, something you have done 1,000 times without a second thought: bending it, sitting on it, folding it tightly into a money belt. Every time you do that, you are putting stress on a microscopic copper antenna coil that wraps around the chip inside the back cover. You cannot see it crack. You cannot feel it snap. But once that antenna fractures, the chip goes permanently dark. The E-gate scans. Nothing comes back, and you are pulled from the automated line for secondary interrogation, or in some cases, sent to the back of a queue of hundreds of people. The passport looks brand new. The chip is dead. The machine says no. And there is no argument you can make to a scanner. If this information just saved your summer trip, share this video with one person who still thinks the printed expiration date is all that matters. Hit like so more people find it, and subscribe so you get the next update the moment these rules change again. Because they will. To protect your chip starting right now, take your passport out of your back pocket. Lay it completely flat. Store it in a rigid case, not a folded leather sleeve. Never crease or bend it. That single habit change protects a document you need to treat like the expensive piece of technology it actually is. Rule 4. Europe's Biometric Entry System. Now let's talk about what is waiting for you when you actually land on European soil. The era of handing your passport to a border agent, watching them flip to a blank page, pressing a stamp, and walking through, that is over. The European Union's entry-exit system, known as EES, is fully operational in 2026. Every non-European Union traveler, every American now registers biometrics at the border before they ever speak to a human agent. That means a high-resolution facial scan and 4 fingerprints pressed flat against a kiosk platen. And for older travelers, the kiosk is exactly where the trip starts falling apart. As skin naturally ages, the microscopic ridges that define your fingerprints flatten and fade. If you have arthritis, joint stiffness, or any kind of tremor, holding your fingers completely still against a glass scanner for the required duration is genuinely painful, sometimes medically impossible. When the scanner cannot get a clean read, the system logs what is called a failure to enroll error. The machine does not understand arthritis. It does not factor in biological aging. It flags the failure as a potential identity anomaly. And that pushes you out of the automated queue into a congested manual processing line during peak summer travel hours. Airports Council International has already warned that these biometric failures are generating multi-hour wait times at European airports. If you have any concern about the fingerprint scan, flag it to a border agent before you approach the kiosk. There is a human fallback process, but you have to ask for it by name before the machine records the failure. Rule 5. The ETIAS, pre-approval barrier. For decades, Americans flying to Paris, Rome, or Barcelona needed exactly one thing: a valid passport. That era is over. Later, in 2026, Americans heading to any of the 29 Schengen area nations will need ETIAS approval, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. Think of it as Europe's version of the ESTA program you complete before visiting certain other countries. It is a digital background check. You apply online, pay a fee of around $8, and in most cases, approval comes through within minutes. That authorization stays linked to your passport for 3 years. Here is the danger. Because Americans have never once needed explicit digital permission to board a flight to Paris, not in decades of travel history, thousands of travelers will arrive at departure gates this summer without an approved, quote, ETIAS on file. The airline's check-in system is directly synced to the ETIAS database via live connection. The gate agent pulls up the manifest. The computer locks on your name. The boarding pass will not print. There is no counter override. No workaround. You are not on that flight. The fix is straightforward. Apply immediately, when the system opens for applications. Do not wait until the week before you fly. Server overloads and unexpected processing delays on new systems are not hypothetical. They happen every single time a new authorization system goes live. Rule 6. Strict, real ID enforcement for domestic connections. Before any of the international rules even become relevant, you have to get through TSA first. Starting May 7th, 2026, the TSA is fully enforcing real ID requirements at every single domestic airport checkpoint nationwide. No more warnings, no more manual check workarounds, no more free passes for expired compliance. A standard state driver's license, the one you have been using for years and renewing by mail, may no longer be accepted. That license now needs a gold or black star marked in the upper corner to prove your state, verified your original birth certificate, social security number, and proof of residence before issuing it. Millions of older Americans have been renewing by mail for decades without ever producing an original birth certificate. Their license looks identical. The TSA scanner sees something different. Here is the good news, and it is genuinely good. A valid U.S. passport book or a wallet-sized U.S. passport card is fully Real ID compliant. If you are already sorting your passport for international travel, bring it for domestic flights too. One document solves both problems simultaneously. Rule 7. The digital ID illusion. You have seen it. Your driver's license. Right there in your phone's wallet app, Apple, Google, and a few others have been pushing this hard. And honestly, it sounds like a real upgrade. Until you are standing at the wrong security lane. The TSA is rolling out digital ID acceptance at specific airports. But it only functions at specific technologically upgraded lanes, and those lanes are frequently restricted to TSA PreCheck members exclusively. Show up at an airport where the digital scanner has a network outage. Get directed by an agent to a standard lane. Hand them your phone. They cannot process it. And without a physical backup document in your bag, you are not passing through security. Here is how TSA actually writes the rule. Your digital ID is a supplement, not a substitute. The physical card is still required. Full stop. Your phone's battery does not expire, but it does run out of charge, and the scanner it needs does not work everywhere. Rule 8. Undeclared medical liquids and the confiscation trap. This one is quietly devastating for senior travelers, and it happens constantly. At checkpoints across the country, right now, people are losing essential medication because of one missed procedural step. Everyone understands the 3.4-ounce liquid restriction for carry-on bags. But the federal medical exemption to that rule, and more critically, how you actually activate it, is widely misunderstood. You are legally permitted to carry much larger quantities of liquid medication, special dietary supplements, and chemical cooling packs for temperature-sensitive medicine like insulin. The rule allows all of it. But the rule also requires you to declare these items verbally to the TSA officer before they enter the X-ray machine. When a large liquid or dense medical powder goes through the scanner without being declared first, the algorithm identifies an organic, high-density mass. To the software, that looks like a threat. The bag is flagged and pulled. And because the items were not declared up front, agents possess the authority to confiscate them entirely on grounds of non-compliance. You do not get them back. The phrase that makes this work every single time is short and direct. Before you place your bag on the belt, remove those items. Hand them physically to the TSA officer and say, "This is a medically necessary liquid and cooling pack for my medication." That one step moves the item out of the machine's algorithm entirely and into a simple visual inspection process. Declare before you scan. Always. Rule 9. The blank passport, pages denial. This last one feels almost absurd when you hear it, until it is blocking your boarding pass. Your passport can have 8 years left on the expiration date, a functioning chip, an approved ETIAS profile, and you can still be denied boarding because the physical book has no blank pages remaining. Sovereign nations require physical space to affix entry stamps or high-security sticker visas. Depending on your destination, you need anywhere from 1 to 4 completely blank visa pages, specifically the pages at the back of the book, not the endorsement pages at the front. If your passport is filled cover to cover from years of travel, airlines are legally barred from allowing you to board for those destinations. And here is what makes this worse. The United States State Department used to allow you to add extra pages to an existing passport at a local embassy. They permanently discontinued that service in 2016. A full passport now means a completely new passport application. No patches, no extensions. The insider move, and it costs you nothing extra, is to check the box for the large book option on Form DS-8-2 when you renew. A standard passport book gives you 28 pages. The large book gives you 52 pages. Same government fee, twice the runway. Your pre-flight checklist. Here is what you do before you book a single flight this summer. Count the months on your passport. If it is under 7, start your renewal today, not when the trip is booked. Check the issue date if it is less than 6 months old and you are heading to China or Brazil. Adjust your travel timeline immediately. Store your passport flat in a rigid case and never fold or bend the cover. Protect that chip. Apply for ETIAS. The moment the application portal opens, do not wait until the week before. Make sure your driver's license has a star, or bring your passport for every domestic flight. Always carry a physical ID regardless of what your phone can store. Declare your medical liquids directly to the officer before the X-ray hand them over. Do not bin them. And count your blank pages if you have fewer than 2 clean pages remaining. Renew the book before you run out of space. The travel rules of summer 2026 are automated, binary, and completely unforgiving, but they are also entirely predictable. Every single one of these traps has a simple fix, and now you know exactly what to check.